What's up, guys? Kevin here, and today we're going to be talking about DE&I. This is something that I'm very passionate about because I've been working in the space for about the past 10 years or so, but I have found that a lot of people aren't fans of it. It's very controversial. In most cases, I think that's simply because either they don't fully understand what DE&I is, or they have experience with people that are implementing it incorrectly. And I'll be the first person to tell you that there is no case where you should ever hire a person specifically because of their demographic. It doesn't matter whether they're African American or female, whatever classification they fall under, they should never be hired for a role that they aren't qualified for and that they aren't the best candidate for. However, I still do think that DE&I helps put you in a position where you get the best candidate when you implement it properly. So in this video, I'm just going to share my perspective and experience with DE&I. So hopefully, if you are one of the people that think it's not important, this can kind of change your mind and reconsider how you can actually implement it at your workplace. So let's go ahead and talk about it. So just to make sure we all have the same base level understanding, DE&I stands for diversity, equity, and inclusion. And all three of those points are important, but in this video, we're kind of going to focus on the diversity aspect simply because that's the most polarizing concept that we're dealing with nowadays. So what is diversity? And I've worked at several Fortune 100 companies, and I've heard a lot of mixed feedback on that. And I was actually even surprised to hear, as a company metric, a lot of people have specific targets and things that they pay attention to. Now, most of them just look for African American and women, which is really unfortunate because there are so many other things that go into having a diverse workforce. One big one is age groups. You should definitely have multiple generations represented in your company if you want to have a diverse team. You simply want people from different regions. So for example, if your company is located in the South, you probably want people from the North or from the West Coast or from the Midwest representing you, especially if it's a product that you're selling across the entire country. If it's selling across the entire world, you should be looking at potentially having international candidates, people from different countries or just different regions of the world that represent your customer base. Another big one is just simply people with different life experiences. So this is where I would categorize people like veterans. If you've been in the military, you have an extremely unique perspective that you could bring to a workforce that you won't be able to get from people that have been civilians their whole lives. But it even considers other things as well. Like, I remember I was talking to somebody on my team that mentioned that they had been homeless before. Just 5 years before they started working with us, they were living in their car. And they felt not included in some conversations because the way people were talking was very much talking down to people that were in that kind of circumstance. And in reality, you probably don't want to offend somebody like that, because if in 5 years they can go from being homeless to being, a member supporting society, making good money at a good company, that's somebody that you want to be on your team and working at their best and feeling comfortable. So these are the kind of things that come into diversity that we don't necessarily see in the numbers, but is definitely important to creating an entirely good workforce. Now, there are a lot of problems that are solved with diversity. Historically, we've seen things like more innovation from companies that have a diverse workforce. And that makes sense because, again, you've got a lot of people with different perspectives that are coming together to share those ideas, and it really helps churn through that process and create innovation faster. It also increases problem solving, because if I'm thinking of a brand new problem that I've never experienced before, chances are somebody else has either been through that or something similar, so that they can bring their ideas to the table and help us get past that problem quicker. Another thing to consider is business longevity and just flexibility in general. If you want your company to last into the next decade, you need a diverse workforce to support that. Something like the generation gap, for example, like I mentioned before, if you only hire people that have 30 plus years of experience, yes, they might be objectively the best engineer or technician, but in reality, one day they're all going to retire, and you're going to have to hire all brand new people, train them, get them up to speed, and hopefully get them back going as quickly as possible. And that is not a simple process. Or you might be dealing with a bunch of people that are butting heads because they've all got all this experience and they're super proud and stand hard in their opinions. So it's really hard to get anything churning and moving forward, and that can cause businesses to stall out. And even just from a financial aspect, you can likely hire 2 or 3 entry-level candidates for the same cost of their salary compared to one super senior level candidate that's going to only be here for 5 years, again, like I said. So with these things in mind, it should be a consideration that you want to have a diverse workforce for your business to be balanced, innovative, and last into the foreseeable future. So with all that in mind, obviously you should just hire more minorities, right? Absolutely not. That is not how this works. Like I said, nobody should be hired that isn't qualified for the job and isn't the best candidate for the job. However, you should believe that there are candidates out there that are better for the job than what you're probably interviewing. And that should be something that bothers you. And that's where DE&I comes into play. So I'm going to try to give you guys an example. Think about a car. And I am a car guy, so I apologize. I use a lot of car examples. Hopefully you stick with me here. But if you've got a car that's really expensive to maintain and it's unreliable, there are a couple different ways that a company could try to address that. One, of course, is just give you a warranty and say, okay, for this many years, all of your repairs are free, your maintenance is free, we'll cover the cost, so you don't have to worry about it. We'll even give you a loaner car and some free coffee. On the other hand, they can redesign the car from the ground up so that it's easy to work on, it's reliable, it lasts you as long as you want to own the car, and you don't have to worry about it. I think most of us would agree option two is better because it actually fixes the root cause of the problem. And that's what DE&I is supposed to address as well. There's typically a culture problem that prevents a company from hitting DE&I targets that it might put in place. So what you really need to do is change the company culture and how it operates in order to foster a diverse pool of candidates that leads to diverse teams. So again, you're not just going out and hiring more people that fall into certain demographics. You are trying to create a business that naturally attracts a diverse work team that represents your customers and who you're already working with. So this could be things like putting your company in different spaces, different types of social media, different types of marketing. How you present yourself can affect the kind of candidates that you attract. Maybe your company is in Miami. Are you only going to go out to the University of Miami to hire new candidates from college? Or maybe you're going to throw that net wider, right? It's the same exact thing. You want to think about a way that you can get your company and your needs out in front of as many people as possible so that you have the best opportunity to hire the best candidate. And if you do that properly, then your candidate pool will be more diverse, your teams will be more diverse, and you'll be able to enjoy all the benefits that come with a more diverse workforce. Now, keep in mind, you still need somebody that really focuses on this because this is something that you need to do very deliberately. For example, if your company is in Miami and you're looking for engineers, you're not only going to go to the University of Miami to hire them, right? That might be the easiest, the most accessible, but it would be your responsibility to branch out and try to find more people in different regions, different colleges, to try to find the best candidate out there. And so this kind of falls into that same category. You need somebody dedicated to this space to understand what you're missing and understand why it's missing so that you can make sure your company is doing what it needs to attract that diverse candidate. So the first thing to do, of course, is yes, you want to go through the numbers, understand the gaps or where you think you're low, understand why that might be, and then work on different things. Again, if it's just how you market your company, how you put your job postings out there, or even just how you treat your employees, because you want to make sure that once people are there, they feel included, they feel happy, and they feel like it's a place where they want to stay. So doing everything you can to make the workforce feel inclusive so that everybody feels celebrated and welcome will make sure that your company continues to grow in the right direction. Now, I'd be beside myself if I didn't at least mention it that yes, there are some anomalies to this sort of kind of thought process. For example, if you've got a company that's selling makeup, very good chance majority of the people there are going to be women. But I still wouldn't say that they should be all women. There are a lot of men like me that shop for makeup because I have to buy makeup for my wife. So maybe you want to do things at your company to consider a male perspective and how they're shopping at the upcoming Valentine's Day, or maybe just in general, different considerations for how the marketing should be done and things like that. So there's really never a company that wouldn't see a value in having a more diverse workforce, but there definitely are certain things where, yes, it does make sense that it attracts certain people because of what you're actually selling. And again, that's why I kind of say it should represent your customer, not just outside your door, but the people that you're actually marketing to. Because if you have good representation inside your company, then you'll also make sure that you're considering how you should represent your company in front of your customers. So yeah, hopefully this gives you a different perspective on DE&I, especially if you were one of the people that thought it wasn't important or isn't something that we should prioritize. Every company should have some level of DE&I initiative. If you're not planning on changing things, at least keep it in monitor status so that you know that things aren't getting worse, because when they start getting worse, the other business metrics will start to drop as well. But yeah, I think that's all we had to cover for today. So thank you guys for stopping by. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you on the next one.